One of the times in our country that people often look back to with great pleasure and nostalgia is the decade of the 50s. Men had already come back from World War II, and jobs were plentiful. Not just jobs were plentiful, but jobs where a man could go and work 40 hours a week and support his wife and that great huge bunch of children that he just boomed out. His wife and he just boomed out during the baby boom generation. The jobs had pensions. The jobs had benefits. You were one of the things that people look back on is how secure you were in your job. The thought of being fired, not for cause, but just because, hey, the company's getting leaner and meaner and just contracting. No, that happened very, very seldom. And the jobs had respect as well. Well, there's something to keep up and shoot. Growth, GDP growth in the country was pretty steadily around 4% throughout the 50s, which is, wow, that's just fine. We would love to see that these days. But in my opinion, there's one thing that's not mentioned that was an integral part of the success of the 50s. The highest marginal tax rate during the 50s was over 90%. The top income tax, marginal tax rate was over 90%. Now, that means people making over a certain amount of money. That money that they made over and above that level during that decade, different in different parts, but it was 90% they would have to pay in federal taxes. Now, think about what that means. Say you are a person who can make all the money you want. If you go into work and your board approves it, you can triple your income. The question is, why would you want to? If every extra dollar you make, 90% of it is going to go away in federal taxes. So it didn't make any sense to have CEOs paid stupid amounts of money and be horribly overcompensated while the people at the bottom with high school diplomas, and during the 50s, not just without high school, not just without college diplomas, but tons and tons of workers. Half the workforce, as I recall, had no high school diploma. And yet the jobs were available where they could support their families working 40 hours a week. And it made more sense for the highest wage earners to control their income. You can only buy so many houses, so many cars, wear so many shoes, and eat so many meals. And instead, use the money to hold on to their best workers by offering better wages, better benefits, more security, and more respect for those workers. You could negotiate with a union because the money was there to give to the workers on the floor, and therefore the amount of money that the guys at the top were paid was the income disparity was not anywhere where it is now, because it made no sense for the income to go up to stupid levels, because the income tax rate was over 90%. The conservative arguments about all the damage that would be done if you increase tax rates on the highest wage earners. Oh my goodness, a rising tide would lift all ships. We have to make sure these people stay as stupidly rich as possible. A rising tide does not lift all ships. It lifts the people who own yachts. Everybody else drowns.